David Nash is a sculptor and artist who has been working with wood, trees and the natural environment for the past 40 years. His career has been dedicated to exploring the possibilities of form in wood and trees, producing a significant body of work in Britain and all over the world. His working spaces are a chapel, drawing studio and workyard in Blaenau Festiniog in North Wales.
I opted partly, well, largely for Blaenau, where I could buy somewhere for very little money, to not have a mortgage and not to have to pay rent, because my friends in London, they're spending all their time earning enough to pay the rent on their studio. They couldn't be in because they were earning the money to pay the rent for it. I just didn't get it. I didn't see the point of that. So this sort of more hermit-like existence here, and just, you know, an area which I loved, deeply, deeply loved and felt very, very attached to. So I was able to buy somewhere here and to be able to make a life making things, objects, sculptures, which from material I could just pick up. So part of the principles was no cost in the materials. This chapel came up for sale, and initially it was for sale for £50. There was someone else after it for the scrap iron, so I got it for £200, and I sold him the scrap iron. So it's a real gift, you know, £200 for this huge, huge building. The first 10 years I had no chainsaw at all. It was all hand tools, so it was all very quiet, so I did everything in front of the chapel or inside. But then when the work started to get bigger and there was a demand for it, like getting museum shows, and also wanting to take work further, so I needed to develop a proper studio here, which is when I got the industrial units and I got a crane and a forklift and all that stuff. This shop came up for sale in 1980. It was completely derelict, and I had it for 10 years before I could afford to actually build it into a proper drawing organ. Tool, it's a part of the tool of drawing. And as Henry Moore said, he said really he could have just drawn all his life. Really the sculpture was an extra, not the drawing an extra. And I've had this old shop converted specifically for this purpose, so it's the right temperature, I got the right light. I try to make the drawings in the same spirit as I make the sculpture, and that is having an immediacy. And for immediacy you need preparation, you know, in the right state of mind, and you've got to have the right physical materials. And if you've got all those at hand, it can just flow. Other people's ideas are exhausting, but one's own ideas have got this tremendous force behind them. So that's what really motivates me. Interestingly, I've found that ideas are far more flexible than the materials. You only have to have enough of the idea in there for another human being. If the idea has truth, another human being looking at it will recognize that. But you only have to have enough. In fact, if you put too much there, there isn't anything left for the person looking at it to do. I think we could just hike off this corner. You always put it back. Could you turn this big one over? I've been very fortunate having some very good commercial galleries representing me around the world, who have been fantastic support and enable me to evolve the work. But I could go back just to drawing.